Week 12 recap. Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is FaZe Fantasy Live. I'm your host, Lonnie Z, and along with me today is Jake Hansen, and we are going to be recapping the Week 12 games, the Sunday games, as far as fantasy is concerned. But there's a lot of good and entertaining games. What's going on, Jake? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Lonnie. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I wish I could hit one of these FanDuel tournaments, but other than that, I'm okay. I thought we had a pretty good team yesterday, and obviously we didn't. That's just my own personal little I got a lot to say today, and I know you do too. So we're gonna fly through these games and kind of recap what happened and recap their fantasy scores. And hopefully you guys did good out there, better than me this week, but it was kind of a funky week. First game on the slate was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Usually we're used to a real competitive game here, and that's what we got. It was competitive. Jake Browning was the quarterback because we all know Joe Burrow is out for the rest of the year. The Steelers came in, they stole one, they got away. How this team is 7-4, I don't know. I just think that they've had a kind of a week, a soft schedule. They beat a team that lost its all-star quarterback, his all-pro quarterback. What do you think about this game, Jake?
Yeah, fantasy-wise, just the same old Pittsburgh Steelers. Not a lot of offense, even that they got rid of their offensive coordinator. Jalen Warren actually had probably a less fantasy score game than he has in the past probably 4 or 5 weeks. Najee had 15 fantasy points. He had more yards. I mean, this is the first time Najee almost hit 100. He had 99. So Kenny Pickett still looks like Kenny Pickett. He had 11. Dante Johnson and George Pickens, we thought they were going to get a little more, but they 9 and 8. Fairmouth, he came back from injury and he went off. They focused around the tight end this week and he went off. He had 24 fantasy points. Jake Browning, for a guy that's been in the league for a while, I thought he would have did a little better, but he had 12. Joe Mixon's just looking really bad. Like we said, take Joe Mixon. I'm gonna sit here and say I'll eat crow. I mean, that was bad. I mean, they even came out in the end of the game and said, or the coach came out and said, "Hey, he tried his hardest." This and that. Because people were saying, "Man, he ran like a girl. He didn't had no like poise or nothing. Didn't look like he was trying." Joe Mixon only had 8 points. I mean, it looked pretty bad. Jamar Chase did what he could do. He had 12 fantasy points, and their tight end had 8. A fantasy day was really bad for both sides, other than Fairmouth.
Yeah. Joe Mixon ended up with FanDuel points. It's seven points, on FanDuel, and that's not going to cut it from an RB1 at his price point too. Joe cost $7,600, and that's what I'm talking about. This week was like that a lot. It wasn't just Joe, and we'll get into the other games, but Najee ran hard. Najee looked like, maybe he needs the Warren competition because the last few games he seemed to be running with a little more purpose, a little harder. And if you have Najee, I'd hold on to him in your year long. I mean, your trade deadline may have already come and gone. Usually it's around the 22nd or some leagues the 27th. Yeah, Najee, you're just gonna have to ride him out, and hopefully the competition with Warren will keep him relevant for your lineups. The next game the next game on the slate was Jacksonville and Houston. We thought ETN Jr. was going to have a game, and ETN Jr. just, to me, ran soft. He had 20 carries for 56 yards. That's crap, bro. You run the ball 20 times and you only get 56 yards, 2.8 average, no touchdowns. He had the ball 3 times inside the red zone, inside the 5. I'm not talking about 3 downs. I'm talking about 3 different drives where they were inside the 5. They handed him the ball at least once each time, and he ran like a little girl. He ran soft, and he got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'll never put him in my lineup again. And now I'm not saying you guys shouldn't. I'm just saying for me, he just burned me, and it just pissed me. He cost $8,600 on FanDuel, and we thought he was going to have a good game. He was due to have a good game, and he just played like crap, man. He played like crap. Trevor Lawrence looked good for the most part, running around, but his numbers weren't that great. I mean, he did have 364 yards and a touchdown, but he looked. Dearness Johnson ran harder than ETN, but he only had an average of 2.7. So maybe Houston's defense was really there. What was your take on that game?
Yeah, it was a quarterback game for sure. Lawrence 28 fantasy points for DraftKings. So, and then Stroud had 33. Um, yeah, Etienne Jr. burned everybody. Guarantee that was really bad. 12. Singletary had 13 on the on the Texan side. We got to start looking at Ridley a little bit more. Last two games, he is getting better. He is getting more targets. So Ridley had 21 fantasy points. Christian Kirk had 12. The target share was about the same between both of them. Nico Collins came out today. Had 26 fantasy points. Tank Dell 17. And the tight end for Schultz burned us bad. Like, we had Schultz, paid way too much for him. I don't know what happened. I thought he got hurt, came back. I guess he didn't get hurt. They had Brevin Jordan in the whole fourth quarter. Don't know what happened there, you know. But yeah, he burned a lot of people. And then Evan Ingram had 9 fantasy points. Yeah, you know what? It was a game we thought that the quarterbacks were going to do good, and they did. Both receivers on both sides did good, but tight ends shit the bed, running back shit the bed.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely was a quarterback receiver game. If you had either one of those quarterbacks or any of those
Yep.
4 receivers, you
Mhm.
did okay. Obviously,
Ridley and
um,
Collins.
if you had Ridley and Collins, those were the plays right there. And it's tough with a team like that because which week which receiver is going to do what. Ridley's been down, but he had a good week last week. So yeah, it's just one of those, flip a coin, and, I was on the wrong side of the coin on that because in our lineup that we built together, Jake, it was we picked Kirk and Dell, and I at that decision, but when you in retrospect, everything always looks greater, right? Alright, so the next game on the slate was Tampa Bay and the Colts. Is 20-7. The Colts, got the win, and Gardner Minshew and the boys came through. I think, for me, the takeaway was I liked Jonathan Taylor, and I thought that he'd have a good day, which he did end up having a really good fantasy day. So did Michael Pittman, liked him, didn't use him. He had a decent fantasy day too. Josh Downs was the better value, but he only paid you like buck for buck. For what you paid for
Yeah.
him, you got
Yeah.
about,
Mhm.
what was your take on this
Yeah,
game?
like you're saying about Josh Downs right now, like I'm looking at it. You know what? I mean, 13 targets. So it's like the value was there and everything was there, but 13 targets is a lot. So it's like it's like when you
5
no, I
receptions,
know.
yeah.
But it's like when you pick a guy, 13 targets, you're like, heck yeah, 13 targets is a lot.
Y
Michael
exactly.
Pittman, 13 targets, but Michael Pittman had 10 receptions. So Michael Pittman, we had him in, we took him out. Our fault. That was totally us. Pittman Jr. 23 points. Jonathan Taylor 21. Their tight ends are not really getting it. Gardner Minshew, good thing we took him out, 15 points. Minshew, like we think, oh, okay, they're going to come out. It's just the same thing with them. Same as Baker. Baker 15 points. You're not going to get nothing excited. It's going to be a 2 games out of the year that you're going to get big with those guys. We hope because they're cheap, but you know what? Hope in one hand and you know what in another, right? Rashad White, 16 fantasy points, not bad. He had a lot of rushing yards. He didn't get as much receiving yards as he's been. And then Mike Evans, that's one guy we did talk about, but he was a little high. He had 25 fantasy points, and K. Dotton had 8. The game was, we thought the quarterbacks were going to do a little better. We talked about that, but Mike Evans and Pittman Jr., we did say they're going to do good, and they did.
And, that the 13 targets and the 5 receptions just tells me a couple things. One, Downs is a little slot guy, so if you don't hit him on target, he's not going up too high to grab a ball out of the air and all this kind of stuff.
No,
You have to be on, you have to be precise. So Minshew and him just weren't connecting. I saw a few plays where Minshew just missed him, bro. So Minshew just very inaccurate, which is opposite with Pittman because Pittman's a big guy. He'll go up and grab away. I seen him make a couple of catches. I'm like, wow, he went up and got that thing because Minshew's just all over the damn place.
Minshew was 24 of 41, Lonnie. He was almost that's like holy shoot.
Yeah, his QBR was
Oh my
43.4 and his rating was 66.2. So yeah, it's just a horrible, QBR and yeah, not a good day for Gardner Minshew. Not a good day at all. Next game on the slate was the Saints, and we thought that this game it turned out to be kind of like what we thought. Two really mid teams playing mid football. But one thing we did say is we said, yeah, you can go up Bijan. He's a little expensive, but if only reason we were scared of Bijan and we faded Bijan because we don't know what the hell
Saints defense.
dumbass. Well, no, Arthur
Arthur
Smith
Smith,
is going to
yeah.
do.
Yeah, Smith.
We don't know what the hell he's going to do. 16 carries. And we said, you give this guy, if you give him 20 carries, he's going to 16 carries, he gets 91 yards, a touchdown. Bijan had a good day, but if you can't count on it, on that happening
No.
every week. And he looked good, bro. I was watching this game.
Yep.
We had their defense, which that was a good call there.
Uh-huh.
But, Drake London's looking good again, making some catches and stuff. Where the hell were the tight ends? But
They
anyway,
disappeared
yeah,
again.
yeah. What was your take?
It's getting like this year, like me and you talk about it sometimes. It's like this year, it seems like they're getting in our head, man. They're getting in our head too much this year. The whole fantasy thing, like these players and these coaches are like these coaches are like getting in our head to make us think like, oh, don't do that because they're doing this way and they're scheming this way. It's like with John Robinson, like we thought way too much to pick that guy.
Right.
Oh, don't do that because Arthur Smith. Oh, Saints defense been here and there. Like thought way too much instead of just saying, that guy's a beast, this and that. He hasn't done really anything too crazy this year, but it's like they're making us think way too much this year, man. Like way too much because the coach has been doing some weird stuff.
Yep.
Like John scored 27 points. Desmond Ritter looked like crap, 11. Drake London, 14 fantasy points. He did come out, but they need to do something with that quarterback situation next year. Derek Carr, he's too much rah-rah, not enough talent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a Kamara, 15 fantasy points. He's nothing there. And then Chris Olave was going off before he got hurt, 21 fantasy points, and Jawan Johnson, 8. So you had a couple big fantasy. I mean, Olave did good, and on the Falcons side, but John Robinson. But that was probably just two players out of that whole game,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yep. Yeah. That was about it, man. And to your point, it seems like when I do better, when I do my best, is when I don't overload my head because I know what the hell I'm doing. You know what the hell you're doing. You've been doing this a long time. Very successful in year-long leagues, in daily fantasy, and that's why we're doing this podcast because we're just trying to share what we know and what we do with everyone to help everyone who at one time was just like us and not winning any tournaments, any of that stuff. We've had success over the years, so we want to share that. The more that I get involved in fantasy sports, I allow too much to get too much information. Sometimes too much information will fuck you up. And so for me, I have to get back to my bare roots, which is always bet on talent. At the end of it all, talent is going to win out. If the guy has opportunities, his talent is going to show. So yeah, yeah, it's one of those crazy years. All right, so the next game on the slate, and I had to just get that out. The Giants and the Patriots.
It's like, you know what? I want to say something real quick. Yeah, that was guards. But I want to say something real quick. You know what I mean? It's like from now on, it seems like we just like when we do a lineup, we just have to put our phones down and then look at the FanDuel roster and don't look at nothing else. Don't look at what a draft shark said. Don't look what this guy said. Don't look what that guy said. Just look at some things like we're doing right now, just like coming fresh, coming organic, instead of looking at what guys that are making less money than we are, and because they think they know stuff when it's all bull crap. When it's about what this coach says, it's like we just need to look at it and do the eye test and say this is what it is.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the all these all these projections and all this bullshit that goes on, and it's just a big game. And I think people just want to give you hot takes. They want to be the guy that has the hot takes. That's why we don't mess with hot takes around here. We pretty much we're straight up. We just tell you what we think and we move on. You know what I mean? And I think there's enough of those, shows out there where they're arguing with each other and they're giving all this bullshit hot take.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like right now what I'm like it's like right now what I'm gonna say right now. Like, we're gonna talk about this Giants-Patriots game. Oh my god, it's a shocker. Mac Jones
Yeah,
sucks. Nobody knows that? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Mac Jones sucks,
everybody knows that.
okay? So you don't have to tell me 10 times that Mac Jones is the greatest and this and that, and then it's Bill Belichick. Mac Jones sucks. He
Yeah,
sucks. Okay, let's go. Let's
you're
talk about it.
absolutely right. Mac Jones does suck. And what the hell's Bill doing? Benching him in the middle of the game. Then next week he comes back, he's a starter again, then benches him again. What is Belichick doing? He's lost control, bro. He has lost control of the team. Even think he's a good coach anymore. I think he's lost his locker room. He does not relate to this generation of player. And I'm just gonna say it. It was Brady. It wasn't Belichick. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Belichick has done absolutely shit before Brady and after Brady. He's done fucking nothing because he's not a coach. He's had everyone fooled because he just ran into the greatest quarterback that ever laced him up. Tom Brady is an anomaly. Tom Brady is a fucking unicorn. And so Tom Brady turned out to be Tom Brady turned out to be the best quarterback in the NFL. And Belichick just ran into him. I don't think it's debatable anymore. I really do not think it's debatable. Tom Brady was the reason that the Patriots did what they did. He got 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them. I mean, Belichick, yeah, he schemed up some defenses, and that was about it. But the offensive part of that game was always Tom Brady. When Tom Brady left New England and went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady led that team to a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl with that team. And and Belichick has barely even made the playoffs since then and has not had a contending team since Brady left. Belichick he's overrated as a coach. He needs to just get out of the game or maybe just be a defensive coordinator and focus on just that. And that's it. But that won't happen because he's like God in New England, but he shouldn't be because he's not a great coach. I do not think he should go down as one of the greatest coaches in history. He's going to because of his record and because being at the Super Bowl as many times as he's been there, but he always had Brady. Before he got Brady, nothing. Since Brady has left, nothing. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Belichick is a mid coach. And for all you people out there in New England, you New England fans, you can hate on me all you want, but I'm looking you straight in the face and I'm telling you the truth. And if you can't see it, you're freaking blind. He is a mid coach. Tom Brady is the GOAT. And that's my little rant on this New England Patriots. This game was 10-7, the Giants and the Patriots. The Giants win 10-7. And that there's nothing to say here. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to say. Ramondre Stevenson had a decent game. Um, he had a decent fantasy game. But other than that, once again, I'm tired of the whole Mac Jones getting benched, Mac Jones starting the next week, getting benched mid game, starting the next week, Zappy coming in looking like crap too. Crappy and Jones. Jones and crappy. Yeah, I spent too much time on this game already. As far as fantasy, we told you before when we were previewing this week that this game, we wouldn't have any of these players in any lineup at all, other than maybe Saquon Barkley. He was the only one that we would have, and possibly Ramondre. Those were the only two. Other than that, no one was appealing here. The next game on the slate is the Panthers and the Tennessee Titans. This game, there's just a lot of bad teams in the NFL, and here's two more of them. 10-17 was the final score. What was your take on this game?
Uh, yeah, I thought Tennessee was gonna dominate a little bit better. We did talk about Derrick Henry, and he did do good. I mean, he was going against the probably one of the worst rushing defense in the league. Um, Carolina stayed together for a while. Will Levis, I thought he was gonna do a little bit better, man. I'm like, come on, you know what I mean? I thought he was just gonna just I don't know, man. Like we're waiting for Levis to do something because the first game he came and went off, and it's just hard right now. Frank Wright got fired today. That's pretty much talking about it. That, that's all you guys need to know about this game. Frank Wright got fired today. Uh, but Chuba Hubbard had 20 points. Didn't do bad. That was a good sneaky pick right there, man. Chuba did 20 points. And Derrick Henry did good too, man. 20 fantasy points. But pretty much out of both of those teams, it was the running backs that went off yesterday. So, but Frank Reich, he's gone, and I don't know, man. I just thought Tennessee would have did a lot better. 17-10. That's not. I don't know. They got to do something different with Tennessee. Something's got to change. Also, not with Vrabel, but just maybe quarterback or maybe I don't know. Just something different, nothing crazy. I like Vrabel, stay with it, but they need more powerful offense, man. They need a better quarterback or something.
Well, you got to start looking at Vrabel. You have to, because they've never had a great quarterback there or a good quarterback. They had Tannehill, who had a good little run, but he already had some success in the NFL before he came there. He came there as the backup, ended up getting the job, and actually did well, serviceable. But they're showing me with Levis that they don't know how to train up a young quarterback. This is not a easy place to learn on the job, and only exceptional, you know, players can do that. Bryce Young was the number 1 overall pick, and he's struggling, because they don't know how to handle, they don't know how to groom this kid, and I'm scared that they're gonna just destroy him because he's really not in a good situation. Frank Reich getting fired is beautiful. So sick and tired of these retread coaches. I just say every time I look at Tampa Bay and their retread coach over there, and Frank Reich and all these I'm glad that Lovey Smith got his ass ran out of town in Houston last year. Why he was even there for a year, I don't know. Why hire Lovey Smith as your head coach? You know, go get D'Amico, which has done much better than Lovey Smith. So they keep hiring these old retreads. They fire them, and then they'll get a job somewhere else. And I just don't. Frank Reich, he was never the solution here, never the answer. Yeah, this game was Derrick Henry. He had a good matchup. He had 76 yards on 18 carries, 2 touchdowns, which is good, for him. And like you said, Chuba, sneaky play, 14 carries, 45 yards. He got in the end zone. But other than that, Will Levis, man, we know the kid can throw, but I don't think they know how to scheme an offense. That's the problem. Their offense is too easy for a good defensive coordinator to prepare for, and so they can have D Hop and they can have. I mean, they had Julio Jones and AJ Brown, bro, and wasn't like this offense that's gonna a juggernaut and Derrick Henry and a good Tannehill. And you know what I'm saying?
Yep, never been high scoring. Always
Yeah,
just been just enough. Yep, exactly.
yeah,
Even
so
when they
that's
made
why I
the
say
playoffs. Yep. Even when they
that's
won
why
the
I say you
playoffs.
gotta look at Vrabel, bro, and Vrabel comes from the Belichick, and it's kinda like Belichick. Have a good offense. Belichick had Brady,
Hmm.
and I just did a rant about that whole thing, so you know how I feel about that. So, yeah, in this league, you have to score points, period. You have to score points, and you have to put a decent defense out there if you wanna be competitive in this league. Alright, next up, it was the Rams and the, um, uh, Arizona Cardinals. The Rams came to Glendale, and they put it on the Cardinals 37-14. And, Matt Stafford had a good day, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, but only 229 passing yards. but the 4 touchdowns, is what, and his rating was 121.1. Kyler Murray, he had 20 fantasy points, and he passed for 256 yards with the touchdown. He's bringing life back to that Cardinal offense, like we mentioned in our preview of this week. But Matt Stafford, 24, fantasy points on FanDuel. Great job, but I'm getting a little more and more concerned with Cooper Kupp because Cooper Kupp just has not looked the same. I know he had the ankle injury, and if you got Cooper Kupp, you're probably a little concerned about that. And Kieran Williams, though, he came back his first game back, and he looked great. Kieran did his thing, 16 carries, 143 yards, and just looked good. But he had 2 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. So, they had waived Daryl Henderson Jr. Earlier in the week, and Kieran Williams just took on a full workload, and he looked really good. You couldn't tell that he was ever injured. He had over 143 rushing yards, so 184 all-purpose yards with 2 touchdowns. Great fantasy day for Kieran Williams. What was your take on this game?
I was a little upset that I didn't take Stafford yesterday on a main slate. I had him in there, and he's been up and down. I was like, oh, against Cardinals. Cardinals defense been little, they've been here and there. They've been good, and man, I was disappointed. I was like, dang, man. Stafford had 24 fantasy points. Yeah, Kieran Williams went off. 41 fantasy points for DraftKings. Receivers wise, nothing really there. 10 fantasy points by Tutu Atwell. He led the team, and Higbee, he finally showed up. 20 or 19 fantasy points.
Yep.
Marquise Brown, 14 fantasy points. James Conner, 7 fantasy points. Michael Carter, Michael Carter came from the Jets. He had 7, and Kyler Murray had 20. You know what? I know they're playing Kyler and they're trying to see what they have. I don't see Kyler Murray as their quarterback next year, man. I mean, more likely he is probably going to stay. I just don't see it. He was 27 of 45. That's almost. That's 50%. That's pretty high. I just don't see it. I don't see it. They have a whole new coaching area over there. I just don't see. I don't see him keeping him. I don't see him bringing the Cardinals over the top. I really don't. I just like.
Well, I don't. You need more than a quarterback to bring the Cardinals over the
Yeah.
top. I mean, you can go out and get Caleb Williams or whoever, and I don't think you're really
No.
putting a rookie quarterback over Kyler.
I just don't see it with them.
I'm not a big Kyler
No.
guy. I'm not a
Yeah.
big Kyler guy, but in his defense, this is the first year he's seen this offense. It's a new
Yeah.
offensive coordinator. It's only his second game in, or is this third game back?
Third game.
Third game back. He's just coming off that injury, and he's just. I think Kyler's doing what is expected. He's bringing life to that offense. And as far as next year, you're right. There were already a lot of rumbles before he got hurt, how he's kind of fallen out of favor with the front office and with just his teammates and stuff. Because he's, a bad dude is what we're hearing.
I just don't think he should have got that contract. I don't think he's worth that much money. I just don't see a lot of I know in the first couple of years he was this and that, and then before he got hurt, the year before in the playoffs he looked trash. Last year he did not look good at all before he got hurt, and then it's just that I don't know. I just don't see him being a $175 million quarterback.
Well, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Kyler Murray or Derek Carr or Desmond Ritter or Tommy
I'd
DeVito
rather have
or
Kyler
Mac
Murray.
Jones or Bryce Young?
Well, I'd
I mean,
rather have Kyler
I just
Murray.
named 6 teams right there that we
No,
would
I'd
rather
rather
have
have
Kyler
Kyler
Murray.
Murray, but you're
So
paying him
I think he's
$175 million, man.
because that's the rate.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, that's for quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the rate. I mean, Aiden O'Connell,
Oh, yeah, I
fucking.
know.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I
you
know.
go down the line,
Oh, I
and
know.
unless you're like Josh Allen or
No,
Jalen,
no, no, yeah,
or
there's not yeah,
these guys,
yeah, there's only
he's
top
not getting paid that kind of money. Josh Allen will. Well, I don't know. Maybe he is getting paid as much as
Yeah, Kyler, I
Hurts
think,
and
is
Allen
like
right
top
now,
5.
huh?
Yeah, I think Kyler's a top
Yeah.
5 paid quarterback right now. Top
Yeah,
5,
he
top
shouldn't be.
7.
I agree with you on that, but there's my whole point, and I'm not
No,
trying to
it's
argue
true.
with you, it's just that
No,
there's
I
not many
know.
options out
No,
there.
I know, I
These
know.
these some of these quarterbacks I just named, bro,
No, but it's true though. But the thing is, it's true. I mean, you're right because if Kyler don't stay with the Cardinals, he's going to go to somewhere else that somebody wants.
gonna
The
pay him.
Raiders. The Raiders, the
Mhm.
Vikings, the
No, no, no.
somebody.
Hey, hey, hey,
Yeah,
hey,
no,
slow
I'm just
down
saying.
there.
The,
No, no, no,
if
don't
the
say.
Vikings
No,
don't
no,
get,
no.
if the Vikings don't keep Kirk Cousins, they're going to
Mhm.
go after somebody like that. So,
No, no, they're not, because the Vikings have a smart front office.
okay, hold on.
They
See,
they
whoa,
their
whoa, whoa.
their
See, you're
their
flipping it
front
now.
office
So you don't want
is
Kyler Murray.
smart.
So you
No,
don't
I
want
don't
Kyler
want
Murray.
them.
See,
I don't want them. But the Cardinals, I don't think the Cardinals are doing much better is what I'm
right,
saying, because
right,
you're saying he won't
exactly.
you don't see him being there next year, they're paying him too much money, but
It's true.
my whole thing is who are they gonna get then?
I know.
You know,
Yeah,
who's
no,
gonna be out there
no,
that
you're
they
right.
can just upgrade?
No, you're right.
Now now if you're Gannon and you want to start rebuilding your own system,
Yeah, you got to get in.
go get you
Yeah.
a first round quarterback, right?
Mhm.
Train him right.
Mhm.
Maybe have Kyler there one more year so this quarterback can learn on the
Mhm.
job kind of thing, and then or trade Kyler in the offseason, like you're saying, to one of these teams, like I just said. Shit, you put him on the Saints, you put him on Atlanta.
Mhm.
You surround him with talent, he's gonna be better guys that they're running out there. So I think you could be right though. They need to do something. Either he needs to really get involved in that offense, or they need to surround him with better players too. Because think about it, James Conner is on his last leg. He's always hurt. Hollywood Brown is a
Mhm.
is a serviceable, but he's not a wide receiver one. He is on the Cardinals, but he's really not. And they have nothing else.
Mhm.
What, Dortch, Moore? I mean, really,
Mhm.
what's the guy that we're saying is their bright
Mhm.
spot? Is their tight end? Trey McBride, So you're right, Jake. They need to do something there,
Right.
and you're probably right. Probably won't be Kyler, you know.
Well, I mean, if you're starting over as a new coach and a whole new everything, that's why, you would think you want to bring your own in. And I mean, he might end up being what Gannon wants, but I just look at him and I just like, I don't see nothing there. Like, honestly, he's not as good as everybody says he is to me. To me, he's a good player, but he's just not as good as everybody says he is to me.
All right, Cleveland and Denver, bro. What is going on? Now, okay, I did a rant about how Belichick is basically I called him trash, which I know I'm gonna get flack from the New England people and probably a lot of people around the sporting world are gonna totally disagree with my take on Belichick. But you flip that and hey, Sean Payton, baby. Hey, I can't be he had a whole new team, a whole different he had to implement he took a bad team from last year. Had a rough start, got embarrassed. But since he's been embarrassed, bro, this team, that's their 5th win in a row now. I'm not saying since that loss they've won 5 in a row, but they've won 5 in a row. And they're now trying to get themselves they're right there in the hunt, they have the in the hunt. They're in the hunt. I'm not saying that they're gonna be, uh, great or a real contender for a Super Bowl because 'cause they're not. We're not get ahead of ourselves. But and then on the flip side, Cleveland started off good, but they've had a lot of injuries to deal with. So Stefanski's done a great job just keeping them above water. But DTR got hurt yesterday, and that kind of messes with them a little bit. What was your take on this game? It was 12-29. The Broncos got the win at home.
For a high scoring game like that, you think it would have been a little more better on fantasy scores wise, but not not too much. Nobody really took it. Russell Wilson had 17 fantasy points. Perrine actually had more points than Javante. He had 13. Javante had 10. Cortland Sutton had 9. Tight ends, nothing there. Dorian Thompson had 11 before he got hurt. Jerome Ford, I thought he would have had a way better game. Only 11. Um, Cedric Tillman led the receivers on Cleveland with 9 fancy points. And Njoku had 11. The one that surprised me that really went off was Broncos defense with 17. 16 fantasy points. But nothing really big on fantasy wise. I mean, we're talking about fantasy, nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing there.
And the defense has really, since they've been embarrassed, they've really looked better. And that's now they're becoming, they got to get on people's radar for daily fantasy and fantasy in general. Like if you're streaming defenses trying to make that playoff push in your year long season, this is a team you really could look at because eh, their numbers are so inflated because of that 70-point loss and damn near 1,000 yards they gave up in that game, that they're always going to look like their defense is worse than it really is. And their defense is getting better every week. Obviously, they played against a rookie quarterback. He gets hurt. PJ Walker comes in and he doesn't do much better. So, but they still play the NFL team and they're looking better each week. They are definitely looking better. Kind of surprising me. I was surprised at that one. Cleveland's a mess though. Ever since Chubb went down, they've been fighting an uphill battle, and then Deshaun Watson, he was never the answer anyway, bro. Bringing him in just wasn't the right call, but it's whatever. All right, the next game on the slate was the FC West rivalry game, and this started off looking good.
Mhm.
We're like, okay, are we gonna start drinking the
Yeah.
wine that Antonio Pierce is pouring and smoking the
Yeah.
stogies? Because 14-0, the Raiders at home, the silver and
Yeah.
black, baby, they're going
Mhm.
just win, baby. And then reality set in,
Yeah.
and Mahomes said, "No, no, no, F this. I'm Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I do and we're gonna whoop your ass."
Yeah.
And that's what happened, 31-17. There was some fantasy relevance in this game. Man, Rasheed Rice had a good game. Pacheco had a good game. And, Patrick Mahomes, even though he didn't have a great game, he had a very serviceable game.
Mhm.
Josh Jacobs, man, he had a big game.
Yeah.
Big game for Josh Jacobs. What was your take on this game?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a little bit different at first. I was like, "Oh, Raiders gonna give him a game," and then second half came around and just went, yeah, back to, I mean, at least the Raiders are fighting. They look way better
Yes, they
before,
do.
way better than, they did with McDaniels. But, I mean, Pierce might not be the guy to take over. Maybe they need to get somebody a little bit different. But if they get a new coach, they need to get somebody just something like Pierce, something just strong, just somebody strong, not weak-minded New England like we're talking about. It's like this is a New England podcast today. Everyone, everybody about that is connected to New England is just trash right now. So they need somebody to dip. But Josh Jacobs went off 25 fantasy points. Jacoby Myers 20. Devontae had some big catches and stuff, but he had 12 fantasy points. Tied in, nothing really. O'Connell, he looked like he was going to do something, but he only had 13. Patrick Mahomes, 20. Pacheco had a couple goal line touchdowns, 25. Rasheed Rice, yeah, he went off with 27, but nobody else around him, just one guy. And then Kelsey, 15. He had 91 yards, but 15 fantasy points. It was a fantasy day on the Chiefs side for sure.
Yeah, and it was nice to see Rasheed Rice have a kind of a breakout game for himself, fantasy wise for him, to get it done.
It's just so hard to pick. It's just so hard to which one. Like I was gonna pick Kelsey, but spending almost 8,000 for Kelsey and only getting you 15 fantasy points doesn't do it. And it's like it's hard. But pick Chiefs right now, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. But you made a point. You said, you know, if they don't keep Pierce, they need to get someone like Pierce. But shit, if you want to get someone like him, why not just keep him? Give him a full season and see what he can do. I don't know what he can do yet, because it's rah-rah time. You fire your old coach and you get the rah-rah guy in, and he's a hard-nosed Raider for life, and I grew up a Raider, and, I'm from, LA and, the whole NWA. So players buy into that. But I do agree with you 100%. They look way better than they have in the last 2 seasons.
Way
They
better.
look like they have some fight in
Way
them,
better.
some energy. I say give him a shot, man. Give him a shot, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
who knows? He'll probably bring in another fucking retread. He'll probably Frank Reich will probably be their coach next year.
Well, I think you get some. I mean, if you keep Pierce, you get like old head coach that wants to come in and be an assistant coach or something that somebody that knows the more of the X's and O's and helps out Pierce. There's somebody in there.
Yeah, like a
I'm
Ed
not saying
like
I'm
a
not
Ed
saying like
Donatel.
uh, yeah, more
No,
like
you're right, you're right. I'm just being a jerk.
like like Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn. I'm not saying to take Anthony. He's not like a great coach, anyways. But he coached the Chargers, and now he's the running backs coach and the assistant head coach with the Niners. I'm saying something like that. That's a veteran guy. I'm not saying Anthony Lynn is a good coach at all because he didn't really do anything with the Chargers. But somebody that has been there, but it's just going to be like a call plays and then be like an assistant head coach. There's somebody that's been there that could help you out. That could help you out and I mean, you might not be the greatest, but X's and O's well, and just to help you out with the team.
Yeah, and, Pierce played for years. He played at a high level. I mean, this guy was good. He was really good. So, I know he knows the game. We'll see. All in all, the Raiders do look better. If you're part of that Raider nation, you have something to look forward to at least. Whereas before you were just spinning in mud and going down a hole, actually, the black hole.
Yep. Like, go get a Jack Del Rio again because they never should have fired him. So go get him and be assistant head coach, defense coordinator, or something like that. I mean, I know he got mopped up with the Commanders, but just somebody. I'm just saying, some veteran guy, like a veteran guy that's been a head coach that knows the football
Yeah,
game, that
yeah.
knows the game.
Yeah. Next game was the best game on the slate, man. This game did not disappoint. This game was badass. This game, bro, this game reminded me growing up as a kid watching a muddy, it wasn't muddy because back in the day the fields were muddy, but watching a rain, weather freaking, these guys are going at it blow for blow
Mm.
overtime. Man, I hit a card on this game where I needed Philly to get a field goal in the second half. They did. Then um I needed it to go into overtime. It did. And in overtime, I needed the Bills to kick a field goal, and they did. And Philly wins the game, and I cashed. It's just a small little card, but I did cash a couple $100 on it. But I needed a lot of things, and it all fell into place. So I'm like, wow, you get great football, and you get paid for it by sitting on the couch. It was kind of nice.
Huh.
Phillies, Bills, bro. This game was a good game. Fantasy dream. If you're a quarterback, if you had one of these quarterbacks, especially Josh Allen. I mean, he led everyone, I think, in fantasy points
Yeah.
this year.
Mm.
What was your take on this game, brother?
Yeah, big quarterback game, 36 by Hurt, 43 by Allen. James Cook, 16. Gabe Davis, 25. It was Gabe Davis game. Stephon Diggs, 19. It was a big fantasy day. I mean, we said, you can't go wrong either
Mhm.
side.
Yep.
I liked Devontae Smith this week, and he did
Yep.
26 points.
Yep.
AJ had 14. Tight ends are struggling with no Goddard, but yeah, it was a good game. I know I picked the Bills because I wanted, like I said, I wanted Philly to win, but I thought the Bills were going to win that game. They just at the end he threw that pick. Allen threw that pick at the end of the game. It's like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like the Bills had that game. I'm sorry, the Bills had that game, but Philly came and won that game, and I'm glad they did
Bro,
because I didn't want them to, but it was a good game. Hurts took it over in the last what he scored 3 touchdowns in the last two
yeah.
quarters, 3 touchdown passes, and ran one in and two in or whatever. I mean, they did good, man. The Bills just, their defense is struggling. They're not a great defense. You could see it. You're
Yeah.
just like,
We had
gosh,
touched on
dang.
that too. We had touched it that
Yeah.
they weren't. Bro,
They're not,
it's like these 2 quarterbacks can just put on they pull it back and there's the big S on the chest, like Cam used to do, like
yeah,
he was Superman. But these 2 dudes really can take over a game with their legs and with their arm. The difference between
run
because
around still.
coming into the fantasy season, the debate was who's better,
Mhm.
Allen or Hurts? Who would you take first in the draft? I was a Hurts guy. I actually drafted Hurts. When Allen was
Mhm.
sitting there, I drafted Hurts. Um, and but you couldn't go wrong either way. And the difference has been so far this year, those turnovers you talk about. Allen's making the untimely turnovers, man. When when he needs to take care of the ball. He's been kind of sloppy with the ball, and Hurts hasn't.
Mhm.
And Hurts, instead of like throwing it, he just starts taking off, and that's what he did
Mhm.
yesterday. Took off, especially that last touchdown. It's like classic, classic.
Mhm.
But yeah, great game. And the Eagles 10-1,
Mhm.
and but hey, maybe they'll go. When did they play the Niners? Did they play them in this season? In the
Sunday.
regular season, they play them Sunday.
Sunday. This Sunday
So our
in
preview
Philly.
our preview is gonna be in
Friday's gonna be
why the
go.
okay, I wanna know, bro, why does Philly get all the home games? They play the Vikings the last 2 years in week 2 in Philly. Why don't they
Mhm.
come to Minnesota? Play the
Ah,
Niners. Okay, I know why they played the Niners in Philly last time because they had the better record in the playoffs. I get it. But why don't they go out to the West Coast and play? What the hell's going on? That's gonna be
a lot of people a lot of people are saying that it seems like they're on the Phillies bandwagon this year. It's like, dude, did you see that horse collar yesterday?
I missed it.
He grabbed Josh Allen. Reddick grabbed Josh Allen, horse collar, and drug him around, spun him around. Jersey fell off the pads and everything, and they didn't call it. Everybody's talking about it. They're like, "Are you serious?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess Goodell wants Philly to win this year, huh?"
Right?
Honestly, dude, he ripped his freaking jersey off him.
Yeah,
Ripped his jersey off him. It's like, really?
yeah,
Yeah,
the whole
crazy.
the whole East Coast bias crap in the media, they can have it. Coasters
Yeah,
can have it. Those New Yorkers and
New York.
Philadelphians and all those, screw all them, bro. And they're,
Man.
and I know we're not making any friends today on the East Coast because
Mhm.
the rant has come, and it's just you can only take so much. You can only take so much.
Yep.
But Philadelphia does have a great team. Fuck, they look good, man.
Mhm.
They look real good, and your Niners are
Mhm.
in for it next week. It's gonna be a good
Yep,
one. We'll talk about
it's
that in
gonna
the
be a tough
preview.
one.
We'll talk about that in the preview, but that should be a good game. It should.
Yeah, they're saying the rain too.
The Niners have really shored their defense up though, preparing for that. I mean, with
Saying
that line, those 2 additions to their defensive line. But anyway, we'll get into that. Yeah, great game yesterday, as advertised. And then you get the Sunday night game, which just laid a freaking egg. And I'm tired of
man.
this, bro. I'm so tired of the way that John Harbaugh's teams play. And oh, they get the new offensive coordinator. They're supposed to be this and that. Yeah, they're 9-3, but they're boring as hell. They have Lamar Jackson, and they're just boring as hell. And then what you've been saying,
Look,
when is this coach going to get fired? When is Staley has run out of town? He's in LA.
I can't
He's
believe
in
it.
LA. Why does he still have a job? Now, granted, the Baltimore Ravens defense is pretty badass. These guys
Mhm.
are flying around. They're out there, these guys are good. So but you're supposed to have a high powered offense if in LA. They're supposed to be one of the top offenses in the league. They don't know how to use Eckler. They forgot how to use him, I think. All they do is just throw
Yeah,
it to Keenan Allen. That's it. Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen. They don't it's and Keenan, hey, to his credit, he's having an all-star year, man. He's looking great. He's looking the best he's looked in years. 14 receptions, 106 yards. 14 receptions. Man, how many targets did Keenan Allen have yesterday? Let me see how many targets he actually had because he had 16 targets, 14 receptions. That's crazy. Him and Herbert are in tune with one another. But what a boring game that was. Very, very boring. Zay Flowers had a game, 2 touchdowns he scored, but Lamar once again just gets it done. And then they start off with Likely early in the game, like they're gonna feature
Mhm.
him a little bit. Second half, I don't think he got a target in the second half. Which
Nope.
is so if you're if you're playing any second half slips like on Prize Picks or something, and you're thinking that Baltimore is gonna, continue what they did, throw that shit out the window because that's what I did yesterday. And I told you I hit a slip before that with the Philly game.
Mhm.
That's all gone because of this
Uh-huh.
Baltimore
Oh,
game.
I know.
So
Yeah,
what was your take, bro?
I lost that well, I thought it was gonna be a better game. I thought it was gonna be a little bit better scoring game. I thought San Diego don't have the best defense at all, and I thought Lamar was going to have a great passing game and all that, and I have him on one of my fantasy leagues. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to go off, and like, really, man? It's like, what is going on? But it's like some of his passes too, like throws it in the ground, and that him too, man. It's like I don't want to hear no MVP talk no more, man. Like I asked you a couple of questions last week about it and about what you think of him, and there should be no MVP talk. There should not. There should be not. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen's doing his stupid crap, but Jalen Hurts, yes. Mahomes, yes. Lamar Jackson is not MVP this year. There's no way. There's no way.
I agree.
I just don't get it. Like I don't get it. Like Baltimore, like you're playing one of the worst defenses in the league, and you cannot like barely anything. Zay Flowers had a good game, but he had that last run. If he didn't have that last run, he wouldn't have did nothing.
That's true.
Keaton Mitchell, 10 points. Zay Flowers, 23. And Lamar, 14 fantasy points. I mean, come on, man. Like Herbert had more points than Lamar, and Herbert was playing a tougher defense.
Yes.
And Herbert didn't even look good.
No.
He had 15 fantasy points. Austin Eckler, yeah, you're not getting paid, homie. Sorry. 10 fantasy points. You ain't getting paid.
Yeah. And I don't think that's all Eckler's fault, though.
Yeah.
They don't even use him, bro.
No, but the thing is, when he gets the ball now, he looks slow. It's like he can't break nothing. He just gets hit and he's dropping. Man, there was a couple catches he caught and trying to break, and he was just dropped. Like there was nothing there,
That
man.
defense is tough.
There's tough defense. Baltimore's tough
Those
defense.
boys are
Keenan
bad.
Allen, 26. Keenan Allen's just monster.
Yeah.
And then Gerald Everett, 14. Yeah, Quentin Johnson, that guy's garbage.
Yeah, what the
That guy's
he's soft, huh?
garbage. Dropping balls, he falls on the ground, he gets hit and falls, and then he's out for the rest of the game.
He's soft.
Like he screwed my thing up, and then Lamar did too. Lamar, I'm like, come on, man, you playing the Chargers? Like I thought, okay, Lamar, show something. Nothing. Yeah, that game was an A. Sunday night, that was like, change it. Home Alone's on. Let's change to Home Alone.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I turned
Honestly, I changed it.
the second half, once it started going sideways on me and my slip was going downhill. The only thing that cashed on that slip, I had a 4-leg slip. It was I didn't think Herbert would get 145 yards or whatever in the second half, and he didn't because of that defense. But that was it. I thought Lamar would get at least 10 fantasy points in the second half. Nope, he didn't hit that. He got like 4. I thought that Isaiah, Isaiah likely get at least 10 yards receiving in the second half. Nope, didn't. He got 0, goose egg. So, that was a bad slip. And I thought that Dicker would get a field goal, and they fumbled on third down. If they would have just had a sack and he would have held onto the damn ball, they would have had to kick the field goal because it would have put them just a touchdown down. They're still in the game. But no, not with my luck for this game. I got to leave the Ravens alone. I do like Keaton Mitchell. I like what I see, man. Start featuring him. Just feature that kid.
He's fast, man.
Give him the
fast.
rock.
He breaks. Yeah, I know. Give
15,
him the rock.
15, 20 times. That kid is badass, bro. I love some Keaton Mitchell, man.
Me too. And then I see when like Gus Edwards come in, he's like, oh, hits a couple guys, and then Keaton's gone, man. Keaton's on the edge and gone.
Yeah, man.
It's like I would get rid of Gus Edwards and then just him and Justice Hill. Justice Hill has a little bit of breakaway speed too. It's like, Gus Edwards, I wouldn't even put it like, dude, Keaton Mitchell, a couple of those on the edge. I was like, why aren't you playing him all game?
Exactly.
Are you serious?
Exactly. They had 35 carries, which is a lot, but they had 6 people who ran the ball. You don't need that. That's what I'm saying. And that's the wrap for this week's games. And I guess that segues us right into what I want to really, really talk about is coaching in the NFL and how it's actually affecting. It's definitely affecting fantasy and sports betting and all that. And I know they don't give a crap about that. I get it. But the bottom line is we have a problem in the NFL. These owners are morons. They have too much money, so they just think that they're smarter than everyone. But everyone's getting too cute, or I don't know what the hell they're doing. What happened to the good old days? Do you think it's a financial thing? Do you think they want to be able to say, well, you're not gonna run the ball 20 times a game, so we're not gonna pay you $150 million. You know what I mean? is this a money thing? Like we just said, you have the Baltimore Ravens running 6 or 7 different 35 attempts in a game. Back in the day, shit, earlier in the year, we saw David Montgomery have a 30 carry game on his own. Whatever happened to those days? And I know they say, well, they get hurt and this and that and that. This is the NFL. You take a risk of getting hurt. Everyone gets hurt. Everyone, has injuries. And I'm not saying run someone 30 times a game, but you have a stud. He's got to be in the game flow. He's got to touch the ball at least 17 to 25 times. You got to get the ball in his damn hands. Or else what are we doing here?
They're doing this with everything. Basketball time management. They're doing with this for everything. Instead of 40 minutes, it's 30 minutes, it's 25 minutes. It went from the league saying you can't just sit all your guys to then the coach is going, okay, then we're just going to play him 20 minutes.
Right.
We're just going to play him 25 minutes. It's same with baseball. Like me and you talked about it. The whole freaking bullpen pitch 1 inning, 2 innings, and then have a starter come in or a starter go in, have a no hitter in the 5th, and they take him out because, oh, he threw over 75 pitches. It's doing it with everything. It's like, what is going on? It's everywhere, and it's bullshit. I'm paying money to go watch these guys play, and you're pulling them out because of what? Jim Brown, Walton Payton, Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, all these guys ran. Eddie George, all these guys that played that were running backs. Terrell Davis, they ran. They were the bell cows of the NFL of their team. They ran 25 to 30 times a game. Derrick Henry was doing it a couple years ago, and all of a sudden, what is that doing? And then you don't want to pay the guy. Okay, but don't you want to win? It's like the NBA. They don't care if they lose 25 games anymore. That just make the playoffs. I don't care if we lose 25. Are you freaking serious? Like, we're paying money to go watch you. We're paying over $200 a game to go watch LeBron James' sorry ass play 20 minutes and sit down. Go watch Devin Booker play 22 minutes and sit down. Are you serious? Kevin Durant sitting the last 3 games because he has a toenail. Like, come on, dude. I'm tired of paying for it. Drop the prices of it if you want us to go watch the games. You cannot let us pay this money. NFL's doing it right now, and it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's a 2 running back league right now, a game. It's a 2 running back league, and that's fine. I mean, like right now, the way the NFL is, you need 2 good running backs, and that's fine, to help the other guy don't get beat up, and that's fine. But not like focusing on one guy and he's going off. You're just going to take him out because you don't want to run him 20 times or 15 times. Like if he's doing like we said, Bajan Robinson, give him the carries. When you do, look what he does. But then next week you give him 8 carries. Why? 9 carries? I mean, like, what's going on, man? I just don't get it. We pay all this money to go watch these guys play. NBA is the worst. NBA is the freaking worst, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Every player on a 5-man roster is making over $100 million, and what? Sit them, play them 22 minutes a game for
Exactly.
what?
Exactly. You know, I don't know. Do these owners think that they're just brilliant? I mean, Todd Bowles, Todd freaking, he's led his team once again to a beautiful, stellar record of 4-7. You know, he's got a losing record as a head coach. The Jets couldn't wait. He was there with the Jets way too long. The Jets fans hated this guy because he's not a good head coach. I don't give a damn. Eye test. The numbers. Do you have more wins as a head coach than you do losses? If the answer is no, why in the hell do you keep running them out there? Frank Reich, same thing, career loser as a head coach. His record is a losing record as a head coach. Josh McDaniels, another one, losing record as a head coach. Ron Rivera, it's his time. He's got to go. The game has passed him up. He's probably better than the other guys that I just mentioned, but Ron Rivera's got to go. Get him out of there. Get him out of Washington. Mike Vrabel, he's starting to get on my hot seat. Now, he's done a good job over the years, but he cannot put it together an offensive team. He is just, he's had some studs over there. They had AJ Brown, they had Julio and AJ at the same time. Now they have D Hop. They have had one of the best running backs in the game for years, and it's always the same thing. They're good enough to make the playoffs and make you think that they're a good team, but they can't get over the hump. Vrabel, you got to start looking at that coaching situation over there. Brandon Staley's a moron. He doesn't know how to run. Him and Arthur Smith are kind of in the same category. All this talent in the world, but they can't get anything out of their. No one thinks that the Chargers are going to do anything in the playoffs. Even Charger fans know that their team isn't going nowhere because Staley is freaking just. He's not good. He's just not. And then they go and get the offensive coordinator Cowboys to come in and clear, clean things up. Bro, that hasn't done anything. It's done nothing. Eberflus. We spent a whole first quarter of the season ranting about this moron. Do you know? Okay, how does this guy keep a job? Check this stat out, bro. 0-10 against teams that have winning records. What the fuck, bro? This guy's a coach. He can't win a game in the division. He's 0-9. Come on, Jake. Me and you, we could put together a staff and get a few wins out of out of a team, right?
Why are they giving these coaches an extra season or this and that? Eberflus is his second season. Okay, I see it, but he should be gone. Frank Reich got fired. This is his first year as a Panther. He's gone.
Good.
12 games. He's gone. Josh McDaniels, year and a half, gone. Brandon Staley should not make it to the end of this year. I don't get it. Why are you keeping a guy? There's no way. If they keep him this year, that is something's going on. The ownership does not want to pay. No, there is something going on, man, because there's no way Brandon Staley is there after
Right.
this year.
Dennis,
There's going to be 6 coaches
there
fired,
should
dude.
be.
And I'll tell you what, the Buffalo Bills coach
He better
McDermott,
be looking over his shoulder
I
too.
think he should be looking over his shoulder too. Rivera should not be with the Commanders next year. There's no way. Sorry, dude. I like the guy. He's an old dude. He had a lot of health issues the past couple of years, and he fought through it. And I give that guy a lot of respect, but you should not be the coach somewhere. You guys are getting washed up, and it's done. Dennis Allen, Saints, if you guys don't make the playoffs, you guys are
Even
done.
if they make the playoffs, Dennis Allen's a moron, bro.
Well, it's going to be
he was horrible as the
but the
Raiders
thing
coach.
is, that's
He's
something.
horrible as the Saints coach. Dennis Allen's another one.
Eberflus, no, but Eberflus should not be
Nope.
there. Ryan Pace, there's rumor of him, a GM, he's going with them. There's coaches that should be gone. Todd Bowles should not be the Tampa Bay coach next year. He's
no
not a
damn
head
way.
coach. There was some issues with Bruce Arians, and that was something they pushed him out for some weird reason. The guy, great coach. Todd Bowles is not a coach. It's just crazy, man. You should not stretch this out. End it now. Brandon Staley is the one that's pissing me off so bad. I can't believe I didn't wake up and see he was fired today. What is the reason you're keeping him? There's no way he's coaching next year.
Bro, what
No
about
way.
Robert Saleh? A better coach.
Robert
Okay,
Saleh.
okay, let's
Robert
look.
Saleh's
Let's compare then. Let's for some coaching and I'll go to the 49ers. All right. Now, obviously they build their teams very well. But I'll go to the 49ers and I'll look at Shanahan and then I'll look at Robert Saleh. Now, the two teams built their teams on defense and a really good offensive pieces, running back, receivers. I mean, really good offensive pieces. And the Jets put their emphasis on an old quarterback that they thought was going to bring him over the hump, which, he was an upgrade. 100%. Aaron Rodgers would have made that team better. The 49ers start off with Garoppolo 2 years later. It actually started with Trey Lance. He gets hurt, and they put Garoppolo. They keep rolling. Purdy comes in. They keep rolling. They freaking keep rolling because their coaching staff and their front office knows what the hell they're doing. On the other side, same exact thing. You get, like you said earlier in the year, you can't let one guy determine it. The Jets, Rodgers goes down, and the Jets look like the rest of the year. like they're crying the whole year. Oh, if we had Rodgers, that's that whole East Coast crap. They think they're better than everyone else, but they're not better than anyone. Just like that rundown shack called Madison Square Garden that everyone says, "Oh, this is the Mecca." That ain't the Mecca. That rat infested stadium. What the hell are we talking about? That's like a reporting and there's a burning building behind him. Oh, there's no fire here. There's nothing going on. It's all fine. But you could see the damn building behind him is burning. What are we, idiots? What are you with Robert Sala? He needs to step up too, bro. It's Sala, Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith better get smart quick. He may know football, but he better start using his personnel right. And just like Kevin O'Connell's done a great the Vikings this year. And I'm not trying to be a homer, but shit, they lost Kirk Cousins. They lost Justin Jefferson. I mean, you lose those two pieces, you should be shattered. They start off 0-3. You know what I'm saying? And they're still right there in the playoff hunt. Put together a nice little string, and I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but come on, man. Some of these coaches, they got to go. And in NBA, we were talking about that a little bit before. Jason Tatum, you can almost set your watch by it. In the fifth, sixth minute of the first period, they're pulling his ass out. He's going to sit for like 5 minutes of the first quarter, and then they'll put him back in. You look, all the stars, man, are getting about 32 minutes a game now. There's 48 minutes. Why do they need 12 minutes rest? These are world class athletes, and it's just a rack. We're just the world's too soft now, man, for sports. You can't have these millennials running, these types of things. You have all these old men with all this money, and they're just like, yeah, if it's going to save me money, yeah, let's do it like this. And analytics, I'm sick of the opener. That was an opener in baseball. The
That's what I'm
opener.
saying. That's what I'm
Are you
saying.
kidding me right now? Whatever. Kurt Schilling, he's out there with blood on his freaking ankle pitching. You know what I'm saying? This is bullshit.
Nolan
So soft.
Ryan getting cracked, line drive. Nolan Ryan, line drive in the mouth. He's still
Exactly.
pitching. Randy Johnson. Like you tell Randy Johnson, you tell 6'7" big unit that
6'10.
you're gonna come in the third inning or 6'10. You're gonna come in the third inning and start the game. He's gonna look at you and go, yeah, right, okay. Yeah. Yeah, like you're gonna tell Nolan Ryan, you're not gonna start, but you're gonna come in the second, or you're gonna start and you're gonna pitch 5 innings when you're winning 2-0, but we're gonna take you out in the fifth. Are you
Or you have a
serious?
no hitter in the
Why?
sixth inning, and they're gonna pull it
Yeah,
because you hit
so
89
bullshit.
pitches. Now you're
But you want me to pay my fucking money that I could barely pay my bills to go watch because I enjoy the game, but you want me to pay everything I have, $200 to take a three family a three-person family, but you want me to pay $200 before I get there and then pay another $150 when I'm there to go watch my favorite player play 4 innings,
right.
5 innings, or watch my favorite basketball player play 3 quarters or barely 3.5 quarters the whole game. I mean, yeah, okay, you get blown out. I get it. That has been like that our whole life. You blow somebody out, you
Yep.
take them out. That is the normal. But a guy that they're only down by 4 or 5 and you take them out, like a couple days ago, you had Clay Thompson sitting on the bench and Curry sitting on the bench when we're only down by
Yeah,
5. What are you doing, dude? Like, they don't care about winning the games no more. They don't care. Basketball, they don't care if they lose 25 games just to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, they're happy. And it says that. They say that. We're not playing for the season. We're playing for the playoffs. That's fucking bullshit.
that is.
And LeBron James, you need to fucking leave because you're irritating the fuck out of me, man.
And bro,
Garbage
and
ass
it's
shit.
it's it's across
And
all
and it
sports,
started all
bro.
with him. It started all with his pussy
Yeah,
ass,
and
man.
then they made the revision for him. Well, you can't sit your stars, because if you travel out of
Yeah.
town, you can't sit them.
Bullshit.
But if you've been in the league for 20 years and your name's LeBron James, then you can. They might as well have just said that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, tell Michael Jordan to sit the
Yeah,
fourth quarter. Tell him, "Oh, you're only gonna play 6 minutes of the third quarter." Yeah, good
yeah,
luck.
exactly,
Good
exactly.
luck.
And man, and
Good
it's
luck.
clear across.
Fucking bullshit.
Reason that I really think that something was said at some point in all these sports is because everyone's doing it the same damn thing. It's like then that's what is affecting fantasy football and fantasy sports because we're going to have to catch up with how these coaches, these idiots, these morons are running their teams, and we're going to have to be as smarter as betters and as gamblers, because it's just this season is the most difficult season I've ever been a part of, basketball or football, as a fantasy player, because you can't set your clock by anyone anymore. You can't say, look at a matchup and say, "Damn, this is a great matchup. Curry should go off in this matchup." You can't do that anymore because you don't know if Curry's going to be out there the whole game. You don't know how many minutes he's going to get. And it's just it's to me it's just ruining the sport. What happened to the good old days when Adrian Peterson was toting the rock 25 to 30 times a game?
The fucked up thing is these guaranteed contracts are fucking everybody up. The guaranteed contracts. You should get paid of what you play
Oh, yeah.
because I get paid of what I work. When I work 8 hours, I get paid 8 hours.
Right,
I don't get paid for going to work and then going home. Okay? I get paid for showing up to work.
right,
That's fucking
right.
bullshit. And then
Exactly.
I have to pay to go watch you play.
Right.
So, that's bullshit. And I'm done. It irritates me so much because I love the
Yeah.
games to go watch games. I love doing that, but I ain't paying $200 to go watch you play the Memphis Grizzlies. Are you serious? And for what? Kevin Durant all of a sudden, like when I get there, oh, Kevin Durant's not playing. What? What do you mean he's not playing? And Bradley Beal's already out because his back. Like, are you serious? Oh, but he'll be there if it's playoffs. Yeah. I bet.
Yeah, and it's funny, man, how conveniently all these players get little nagging injuries, like Jonathan Taylor. Remember that? Jonathan Taylor. He wasn't getting the bag, so he was hurt.
Lamar
He
Jackson
he's hurt.
last
So he
year.
said Lamar Jackson last year, same
Last
thing. Oh,
year.
he's not getting the bag. He's hurt. And their agents, oh yeah, he's hurt. He's got and they run out all these tests. They put him on the injury reserve games and all this bullshit, and they're not hurt. This I get it. It's a business, and from the player's perspective, I get it, man. They know that they're involved in some violent stuff. Every Sunday could be their last game. I totally get it. They should be well compensated. But if you're going to be well compensated, if you're going to get paid millions and millions of dollars, I
Give
need
back a little
you
bit.
play. Yeah,
Give us a little bit.
yeah.
Give us a little bit.
And I don't think it's so much the players, as far as once they're in the game, they just want to play. They don't give a shit. They can care less about sitting. Most of them, I'm saying most of them want to just get out there and play. It's probably bugging them, but they're going to get used to it, man. It's just going to be part of how it works. Yeah, I get those. My break. We get
Like
10,
Lonnie,
15-minute breaks. Oh, it's my break.
like, let me ask you this right now. Let's say your wife said, "Hey, let's take all our kids to the game. All our kids. Every kid you have. I'm not saying the ones that live with every kid you have, right? Have.
That'd be an expensive ass
How
game.
many kids you have? How many sons do you and your
5
wife have?
boys. Yeah, 5
All
boys,
together. I'm talking about
6.
all
We have
together. Yeah,
6,
6.
6 boys
So you have
all
6
together.
boys all together, okay?
Yeah,
Now your
mhm.
wife says, "You know what? Let's just suck it up and go." That's gonna be like a $700 for tickets,
Yeah,
$800 for tickets.
yeah,
That's gonna be $1,000 night.
yep, and you get
$1,000,
there,
and
and
people
Jason
do it.
Tatum ain't playing,
And Jason Tatum is not
or
playing.
he's playing 28 minutes.
Let's say you fly all the way to Boston because you wanna see that's your bucket list. Now hold
Yeah,
on.
it is, it
Let's
is.
say, though, that's your bucket list to take all your kids, every kid you have, with your wife to fly to Boston, and you already bought tickets. Like, let's say you bought them today, and you say, "I don't care how much money it is, but I'm buying them today." Nobody gets hurt, everybody's fine. You get there, and Jason Tatum is not playing because they're gonna just not play him. Dude, that's a crush. That is
Yeah,
crushed.
yeah,
Crushed.
for sure, and so the NBA thought of that, right? Right? They thought of that, and they said, "You can't do that anymore, teams," and so the team said, "Okay, well, then fuck you. We're just gonna play them a lot less then."
Yep.
Because we have to do time
Mhm.
management so they're okay for the end of the season,
Mhm.
and there's probably some
Yeah.
truth to that in sports because 82 games, that's a lot of damn games. 18 games in the NFL, that is a lot on your body. That's a lot. These guys have been doing it their whole life, though. They're used to it. They're conditioned to do this. It's ruining sports. I think the fact that we keep in all sports retreading, losing coaches, and they keep getting high paying jobs is bullshit, bro. If I did my job that bad, there's no damn way I should expect to
Mhm.
keep a job. If you don't do well at your job, why should you know, why should you keep your job? These guys don't live in the real world though.
No.
They live in the entertainment world.
Mhm.
They live in the fantasy world.
Mhm.
And I know that we're talking fantasy football, but that's what we're talking.
Mhm.
We're talking freaking fantasy football because a lot of people play fantasy football
Mhm.
and all these leagues endorse all this fantasy shit, bro.
Mhm.
They do. They really, really do because they know why. It brings in money. Each one of these teams get paid from all this fantasy money coming in.
Mhm.
Each team gets paid. So,
Guaranteed.
you know, yeah, that's all I got, man. This is
Yeah, I'm good.
it's not the it's not the old days anymore,
Nope.
and I don't like the new days.
Yeah, because it gets everything's getting more expensive and just more emotions, more they don't care. They don't care.
Sorry for all the f bombs that we dropped because I know that we dropped a lot of them today, but it was just one of those days. Sometimes you gotta just let them out, and we did Monday night. Tonight, Vikings, Bears. We already broke that game down for you, what we thought in the Week 12 preview. So check out that episode if you want our take on that. Obviously, I got the Vikings, Skull Vikings. Let's go all the way. Jake got the Vikings too. Chris has the Bears. So we'll see how that all works out. I am Lonnie. He is Jake. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.